Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. Today I have a 2004 Nissan Pathfinder. And if you were looking to purchase one of these, even though it's almost 20 years old, if not 20 years old, depending on the manufacturer's date, a bunch of things you want to look for. So I just kind of want to show you. So first things first is you want to check out the suspension. And if you have the opportunity to put it on a lift, great. If not, jack it up, take a look at it. You want to make sure that these boots are intact, which they are on this side. This side, you can see this boot is kind of cracked up here. So depending on your inspector inspecting your vehicle for safety inspections, they'll probably fail you on that. So your steering rack, you want to kind of grip this and see if it's loose. In this case, it's nice and tight. Boots are still intact. You got a little bit of cracking going on there. We'll look at that. Your tie rod, outer and inner tie rods. So it doesn't look like any of the boots are ripped, but you do have some wetness here. So if you just peel back there, you can see that that boot is completely ripped and that would need to be replaced. So you'd have to take your tie rod off on this side, put a new boot on, and then figure out how much it's leaking. We'll go up top and we'll check the fluid level on that. Your power steering lines, which run under here, when you start seeing stuff like this right there, that is a kind of like, it's like a scab. It's a rust scab, and you would actually be able to flick that off with your fingernail, which I'm not going to do, but that would start leaking. So depending on any road debris or depending how much pressure goes in, and that's probably going to start leaking. So that needs to be replaced, but the condition of those lines, the line should be replaced depending on how much fluid is in your steering rack, and that probably should be replaced sooner than later. This is your sway bar linkage, and why I'm pointing that out is customer stating they had a lot of movement and they're scared to go up onto the highway driving this vehicle. It seems tight, hard to tell, but again, this boot in here, that bushing should probably be replaced, as well as the sway bar links, which they look like they've been kind of worked on at some point, but I would probably replace this as well. I know I'm kind of sounding like the average mechanic here, just like everything. It's kind of like a wish list, stuff that I would do to make this, perfectly safe. And then up here, let me see if I can work my light angle. So those are your front struts, and you can tell from their condition, they've been around for a while. That would be another contributing factor to why it was probably not riding well. And there you can kind of see like the cap is broken off the top there, so that needs to be replaced. Sway bar linkage, obviously, that's back there. That's that piece right there. That should probably be replaced. They had a rear seal leak that supposedly was fixed. And why I say supposedly is, so your rear engine seal is here between the engine compartment and the motor. And you can see that drip, and it's kind of fresh. So it's your oil, and I think they just got it done the other day. So there could be some residual oil going on, but the other thing I'm kind of suspect of is none of this looks like it's been disturbed. Meaning, I don't know if somebody actually worked on that or not. Like that cable tie right there, they should have been probably popped out or replaced. They look like the originals. That sensor would have come out. That doesn't look like that's been moved. And it's kind of clean. I don't see like a lot of, like you would see like handprints or oil or clean spots or something. That's the only clean spot that I see on there. We did have an error. It was reading a catalyst error. So there could be something going on. It's typically not the sensor that goes bad. Usually when a sensor tells you something's bad, it's not the sensor. It's probably something going on in your exhaust system. So the CATS has over 100,000 miles. The CATS could be full, and that's why you're not getting a good clean burn for the sensors to pick up. Your control arms, like that is your control arm, lower control arm bushing. You have cracks and stuff in that. Again, depending on your inspector, they would probably fail you for that. Just things to look at, it depends. If you got a relationship, they'll probably let you go, but backside of your ball joints, your lower ball joint, and you can see how it's raised up a little bit right there. So that is probably due to be replaced. And this one, same thing. You can see that that's raised up and, you know, cracking pretty good. So that needs to be replaced. So that's your whole lower control arm. And like I said, dream list to make this completely roadworthy and safe. So back here, you do have a little bit of oil residue on your rear differential. Nothing terrible. We'll get back to that in a second. So see how you have kind of like a wear mark? This is your rear sway bar and your rear sway bar linkage. See how that's all broken up? So this is probably really loose and you got a lot of extra movement. So that should be replaced. The sway bar you can probably reuse, and then I'd replace the sway bar linkage on either side. And then coming back around to your rear differential. First thing I always check for is up here. Hopefully I get some good light. This is your vent. So this is, see how this is nice and loose? And it's supposed to be that way, rocks back and forth. You can pull up and down on it. So what that does is as your rear differential built up pressure, if that was rusted shut, that vent, you would start getting leakage at the axles, or even worse, it would probably start leaking up under here because that pressure is looking to go somewhere. So, I mean, that's good. That's a good thing. So then we have our rear shocks. I'll try to get better light on that. So they are a little rusted, and when it starts getting like this flaky, somebody typically, most states will fail you for that, because once that comes open, all the weather can get inside your shock. So the rear shock should be replaced as well. And you can tell that's kind of, let me try to get some better light on that. That's worn on the inside, so that definitely has to be replaced. It's a little wet here. Nothing terrible. Usually when I see some wetness, I look to see if the brake is leaking up here, which it doesn't seem, or that could be a rear seal leak on that side of the axle. Again, we'll have to check the fluid level in there by cracking that nut off, going inside and see how the fluid level is in there. But again, it's not terrible. It's not like super wet underneath here, which would be an indication that it's leaking, so not bad. Okay, bearings, obviously holding a camera, I can't do this, but I've tested this already. Usually what I do is I'll shake it back and forth and see if there's any movement from any of these wheel bearings. And right now it seems like we are in good shape. Again, I tested this beforehand, just to kind of let you know. And brakes, you want to look on the inside, see if there's any grooves in your rotors. These are nice and smooth all the way to the end. If you have any lipping, which would be occurring here or here, like trenching, the inspector mechanic would make you replace that rotor. But these are in good shape. Your brake pads, you can kind of tell in there, there's a wear indicator. So there's quite a bit of difference between a wear indicator, the brake caliper, and a rotor. So your pads are good. And usually you'll see them wear sometimes on the inside more than the outside, or vice versa. And then again, looking on this side, we looked in there and everything seemed like it was okay on both sides. Then you're looking for like body rust, and for 2004 for Pennsylvania, so actually isn't too bad. We do have some rust up here, and then you can see like in the rear panels, it's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see from underneath. So you do have some raised paint back here, which indicates some rust going on. Spares missing, obviously, but that's another thing that you want to address. The muffler looks reasonably new. So I started looking at this and taking a closer look. So the muffler's on a newer side. So this is like kind of like your resonator mid muffler, as they call it. That looks good. And this was kind of peculiar. Actually, I use this stuff and the stuff works great. It's a exhaust cement that you can put in. It actually has iron pieces in there, as well as like kind of like a cement, and that will help with any leaks. And you will pass inspection if you have this stuff on here and it's not leaking. So it's pretty cool stuff. Oh, I have a tube of it actually to show you. So I use this stuff. I'll put the link in the description, but otherwise that's probably about everything on here. Basic stuff that you want to look at. on a vehicle. And again, so this has rear drum brakes, which I gotta tell you, I hate drum brakes. They are a pain to work on and to change. Thank goodness for disc brakes, but without taking it off, it's kind of hard to see what's going on in there. I usually try to listen to see if I hear any residual issues going on. But yeah, anyway, that is your overview of your 2004 Nissan. If you're looking to purchase, just some things to look at overall and to make note of. But hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you have any comments, obviously leave them in the comments as well. And other than that, Brian from Garage Mahal, thanks for watching, and be safe out there. Oh, and just dropping this down, you can see how this strut, that's all open, the seal's broken on the thing, so that's probably what the main issue of some of this ride feel is, definitely those struts. And this is the driver's side, same thing, that front strut is shot, needs to be replaced. Okay, so in the engine compartment, things you want to look for is your oil cap. You want to take that off, and you want to make sure you don't see anything that looks like chocolate milk, because that would be like a head gasket issue. In this case, nothing's present, so it looks nice and clean, and that's good. Pull your oil dipstick out, and then obviously see how much oil is on the dipstick, so that's full. See how clean it looks. It looks pretty clean, so that's a good deal. So we can put that back in. So it's been recently changed. Check your brake fluid level. So in this case it's good, so it's at the max mark. This is your air filter box. So basically you pull that back and then you pull up, and then that is your air filter. And you can kind of tell that that is obviously brand new and clean, so that's in great shape. And a little bit tricky with one hand, but kind of doable. Let me put you down for a quick second. Okay, so you have to basically sit it in a frame so it looks nice and flush, and then obviously put that back down, slide that back forward, and then that's good to go. So you want to look for cleanliness of the engine overall, make sure there's no oil splatters or anything. And that is your serpentine belt. On that, look for a worn logo, or just kind of like a worn look, so you can kind of see how that's worn looking. I'd probably replace that. Then you have your tensioner pulley, which is straight down, kind of hard for me to point at with the focus, but that is rusted up. If it's starting to squeak or something, you hear some noise, it would be time to replace that. Even though the condition of that, I'd probably replace that ahead of time. Your battery's in good shape. 822 was the manufacturer date, so that's nice and clean and relatively new. So this is your transmission dipstick, which is right here. So it has like a little pull tab on it, and you want to do this when the engine's running. Be careful. And I checked this level before, but that is your transmission dipstick, and you can tell wetness on it. So you have a max and a minimum line. You want to check this ideally when the engine is running. Obviously be safe, watch your hands, everything else, but that will give you a true reading, and that looked nice and clean as well. So this is your air conditioner fill port. This is going to be your low side, and see all that yellow dye? That means that they had a leak or were looking for a leak, and that's remnants of that. So that's a telltale sign that there's an air conditioning problem, in which case I believe this unit doesn't cool, and it looks like they looked for a leak, probably filled it, so there's probably another issue that's there. But again, you know, the air conditioning system is how many years old. This is the top of your strut. Those are the 3 bolts you would actually remove to drop your front strut out of the way, which we'll have to replace. Then you're overall looking for your other stuff that you can see is, I didn't point out the alternator, but the alternator is down at the bottom. And what you would do is you would run your vehicle, and then you would test each terminal. That's your positive, that's your negative. With a multimeter, if you're getting like almost 14 volts or more, your alternator is working well. If you're down into the low 13s or the 12s, it would be time to replace your alternator. And other than that, that is probably overall. Look for any cracks in any of the hoses. Like this looks like that's been probably recently replaced. Some of your lower hoses have not. That is your steering knuckle down there, so always look for wear or play in that. And that one's, it's a little older, but I think still passable. I didn't notice too much play in the steering wheel. Radiator, look for leaks. So you got a little drippage there. I'm not sure what that is caused by, but it's something to take a look at. This is your overspill. Oh, okay, so I see. So when it was running hot, the overspill, which is up here, that drains down, and then you'll get some residual water down there from that. So, but that is your overspill, or rather your fill reservoir. So you can take a look at that and make sure that the level is full, which it is. And if you want, we open this up. Take a look down there, so you can see that you got a decent level all the way down there. So that's okay there. And that is your high side of your air conditioned side. So it looks like they didn't have any leak detect come out on that side, or that we can see. So that's good. And that cap's on there nice and tight. And other than that, that is it. So again, that is your view overall.